Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Good morning, afternoon, wherever this finds you. It's actually Becky Brown, and I am joined by Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Dave Stoop in California. How are you guys?
We're doing fine.
Hi, Becky. Doing great. Sunny here.
Well, it's not sunny here. It's rainy and gray and cold, and we're not going to let the weather keep us down. We're just going to carry on, and we're going to actually take a bunch of calls today. So if you are listening and you need some help, you can call us at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be here for a couple hours answering your calls. And, you know, that's the thing that we love to do. We love to help people find help and offer a new way of life. It's a great thing. And Steve isn't here with us today. He's with us in our hearts always. But we're so excited. He's a featured guest on Focus on the Family. And we're going to have a link at newlife.com. And I actually heard the recorded message on my way over to the studio today, and it's so good. And I know I'm subjective when it comes to Steve because I think he's brilliant and has helped so many people. But the big thing about this, the title of it is The Crucial Role of Men Standing for Life. It's his story about his experience with abortion, and you know, his vulnerability of sharing has led the way for so many people in so many ways to find healing from, making those kind of choices. So you can check it out there. It's a big topic of conversation.
Yeah. And it's always great the way he interacts with the hosts there at Focus.
Yes.
Right.
And you know, I think it's so, we take it for granted how much Steve shares about his life because we're used to his openness.
Right.
But when I say that he's led the way, I know there's so many people that have been to workshops or have interacted with us that have learned the power of confession and have learned the power of just being open. And I don't know if you guys have had that experience with people in your practices where they've kept a secret for a long time and then they find a way to tell it. What are some of the things that you guys have seen when people decide to share their truth?
Well, I think there's reluctance, or either people have had bad experiences where they've shared and people haven't really been open to receiving, or they think, what does talking do? How can talking help? And, we now have evidence that talking does change your brain. And the whole idea of healing is it is with another. Healing by ourselves can only go so far. But it's that healing in relationship with another that is supportive and non-shaming that makes all the difference in the world.
And the reluctance comes from not knowing the end from the beginning. After they've shared, there's such a relief that they wonder why they didn't share sooner.
Right.
So true.
But it's a good commentary on the counseling relationship because they trust us. And if they share on the radio, they trust the listeners to understand.
And I love the fact that people take the risk. They call us. You can call now, 1-800-229-3000. But they call us and share some of the really most difficult things that they're facing. And they're met with grace and acceptance. And some of you are keeping secrets that need to be shared in a safe environment. And maybe the first call is to us, but it might also be that you call us and we'll find you help. But either way, don't keep it to yourself. Share something with somebody today so that you
take a risk.
Take that risk. It's a good risk to take.
Yeah,
and
here's
the highlight. Everybody's got something.
Yep.
Like everybody's got something. You're not the exception. And we want to help you. So we want you to call us today. Give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. This weekend, we're excited. We're going to be doing Restore, the workshop for women. And you can call us for information about that. We'll be right back.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 28th to March the 1st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. It's Becky Brown and Dr. Dave Stoop and Dr. Jill Hubbard taking your calls today. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. And we are going to go right to the calls. And we're going to start with Lisa, who's calling us from Maryland. And she listens to the great station WAVA. Hi, Lisa. How are you today? And how can we help you?
Hi, I'm happy that you took my call, and hello to you and your team. I'm calling because of my relationship with my 33-year-old son. We've always had kind of like a rocky relationship. He's my oldest, and every now and then he'll just call me and come up with something that's crazy and blame me for it and cuss me out. And as of late, he did the same thing and then asked me not to contact him anymore. So in order to protect myself, I just don't do that. But I don't call him. I'm not in contact with him. So I was wondering, am I right to protect my feelings like that, or should I continue to go out on a limb to reach him?
You should be saying, should I go out on the limb to be abused by him?
Yeah, you're kind of the dumping ground.
But that's kind of what you're asking. I mean, it's an abusive situation. Why do you want to put yourself into it?
Because, I'm thinking about the scripture that you forgive 7 times 7, and that you, it's really not about me. It's about, just showing the love of God or something. So that's why I'm thinking that.
Okay, but you approach it differently, right? In that maybe you text him, write him, and say, I am really happy to hear your concerns if you would like to have a discussion. However, when you call and rage at me, I can't really hear you or respond when I'm under attack. Right? So let me know when you'd like to have a calm discussion so we can really get into your issues.
You'd probably need a third party to have that calm
discussion. You probably
discussion.
would. And to say, I'm happy to own my part. Mm-hmm. If you're hurting, I want to hear your hurt, and I'm happy to own my part.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to be blamed for your entire life, because once you become an adult, all the hurts that have been done to you are still your responsibility to get the healing for.
So, Lisa, I have a question for you. How are you feeling about this relationship?
Well, I'm lost because he has my only grandson, and of course, he's not married. That's my only grandchild, period. He's not married, so they're in a split relationship. But I just have to, call and speak to my grandson when he's with his mother. Usually, my son would have let him call me when he gets him, and that's the way I would really be communicating. So,
what's your son's basic problem with you, Lisa? What's the theme that he plays over and over?
That he feels like this last incident. He said somebody told him something that I said about him, and which is not true. And I couldn't understand where that came from. We had just experienced 2 major deaths in the family, and he called me in the midst of this dilemma with this issue. Anger and cussing me out and saying I need to take care of everything and da-da. And I'm like, why are you doing this in the middle of this? I can't do it right now. I just can't. And he said, well, don't call me no more. Don't get in contact with me anymore.
Wow. That's his
So
grief talking,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. Well, and I also wonder, does he drink? Does he use drugs?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so because
Okay.
he's a personal trainer. I mean, I would think not, but he lives in
Okay.
a different state. He doesn't. I don't think he does that.
Okay. Because sometimes
So-
the raging comes along with that.
So I'm thinking, Lisa, you
and
probably...
doesn't raging come with a mental, his mental capacity, his emotional.
Oh, yeah.
spiritual
Yeah,
capacity?
absolutely. To tolerate his own frustration, in life. And so you become the target. So there's a lot of
I think-
immaturity there.
So I'm thinking, Lisa, I think you probably knew the answer to your question before you called, but I think when we're in a situation where it's so hard to believe, right? Like you're attacked,
Yeah.
it's this shock that kind of reverberates, and then the sadness that comes with the disconnection, because I'm sure you love him,
Yeah.
but you said that your relationship with him has been contentious for such a long time. And then in the middle of this family issue of loss, his grief just starts to come at you. And I'm thinking that you're probably the safe person for that to land on. I'm not saying that that's a good thing for you. I'm saying that's typically,
That's reality.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
happens.
Correct. I've considered that as well. But nonetheless, as you noted, it doesn't feel good.
No.
No, it does not.
It doesn't at all. And is his dad involved in his life at all?
No, his dad is deceased.
Okay. Okay. Because sometimes when there's a removal of a dad, too, there's this
There's the
this
anger.
right,
Yeah.
at mom. And there isn't
So-
a man to, step in.
So just a couple of things that I'm thinking, because I don't think that you're ready to have him tell you what you're going to do, right? I think that's part of the other issue,
Yeah.
that he says, don't contact me again. I think that there's another way where you can say what you need to say, when you need to say it. It may be a third party if you're interested in reconnecting with him, but it could be, whether it's an email or a letter.
Yeah, that's
where
what I
you-
was saying. Just,
Yeah, where you just connect on a different level and hope the best for him. Know that this is not what you had envisioned for your life together, and
and
it's-
keep a
it's-
good relationship with your grandson's
Yeah.
mother, for sure.
For sure.
Right?
Sure. And
And
I
keep that
did do
relationship.
with the email after he sent that derogatory email to me. I did send him one and let him know that I love him, but I'm no longer going to continue to be verbally abused by him.
That's
and
good.
that I'm going to adhere to what he asks.
Good.
But I
Perfect.
mean, is that just me being protective of me and my emotions?
No, that's
should I
that's
put
setting
myself
a
out there?
that's setting a healthy boundary, Lisa.
And it's
Right.
protecting
And
him,
it's-
too. He doesn't feel good about himself after he rages at you.
That's right.
right. The other question that you had, Lisa, about the forgiveness of 70 times 7.
That
you're-
doesn't mean you reconcile.
There you go.
The reconciliation is separate from forgiving. You can forgive him 70 times 7, and
Yeah.
and he doesn't even know that you're doing the forgiving. You're doing it between you and the Lord, and it's to
Yeah.
keep your slate
Amen.
clear.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, Lisa. We will be praying for that situation, and we're going to send her a copy of Forgiving What You'll Never Forget,
Yeah,
because I
that's
think that that'll talk about just that release, because so many times in family relationships or those relationships that are really close to us, it can get real messy and complicated. I mean, right? We're going to talk to John from the great state of Ohio, and he listens to WBYN. Hi, John. How are you
Great
today?
state
And
of Ohio. Who else is from Ohio?
Gee, I wonder who that
I
would
am,
be.
but I keep
You
it
left.
right,
secret.
But you left.
I keep
right.
it secret.
Sorry about that, John. How can we help you today? We're so glad you called.
Well, I was just, I'm just in this situation that I never dreamed I'd be in again. That I was happily married for 15 years to this woman, and 3 years ago I made a surprise trip home. I'm a truck driver, and caught her with her boyfriend, and we got divorced. And turned out that this guy was very abusive to her, mean, abusive, drunk, hitting on her. And I guess this last June that he hit her, and she had him put in jail for the last 6 months. She told me she was done with him. And I never did want to divorce her in the first place. I told her, I said, if you're done with this guy, would you please marry me again? I want another chance to be with you. And she agreed, and she promised me that was all over with. So we got married in August, and I had bought a house since our divorce. November, I sold my house, moved all my new furniture and appliances to her house. I thought everything was wonderful, and this past January 31st here, he got out of jail, and I thought I'd make a little surprise visit home a couple days. February the 3rd, I came home, and she wasn't home, and I went looking for her, and I thought there's no way she could possibly. But there's only, I just thought I just had to check, and I went to his house, and there there at 11:30 at night, there was her pickup parked in his driveway. She had her phone turned off, and she wouldn't come outside. And when I seen that pickup there, it was like I was just
Crushed.
devastated. I was like, oh no, that meant to me right then and there, our marriage is all over again. I gave her another chance. I trusted her, and there's nothing she could say that I would want to get back with her now. There's no way. I just can't understand.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, John.
Yeah.
What,
Well, she never fixed what was broken in her, right? She just was jumping from person to person.
Well, and I also, so John, first of all, I want to ask what your question is specifically for us.
How do I go on from here? I mean, how do I ever learn to trust anybody again? I mean, I put my heart out there. I gave her one more chance, and it's like, I just feel like I'm being punished. It's like I'm wondering, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, it's so hard. And I think the way that you go forward is this is a big loss. And you're kind of in shock right now, John. You cannot believe that this happened. And, we talk a lot. We're going to do the Restore workshop this weekend for women. We talk about betrayal trauma, and it's a real thing. And it happens to men as well as women. And so it makes sense that you're just overwhelmed with grief. But I would encourage you to, work through this with somebody, on a counseling level, because this is a huge wound. And the fact that you went back to her, there's a lot with that as well. Jill or Dave, what would you like to encourage John with?
Well, it's obvious that she didn't do anything to change whatever was behind the cheating behavior is still there, and your part in that was assuming that you could change her life and just by marrying her again, and all you did was set yourself up to be hurt again. And in terms of moving forward, I think the lesson is to go slow and to really check out the past, the behaviors, and what's been done to change those behaviors, what's been done to understand them, and allow yourself the freedom to take your time, because there's nothing that hurts worse than a betrayal. Whether you're a man or a woman.
Right.
Well, probably the hardest part for me is that all my family and friends advised me not to get back with her, and I went against everybody's advice because I followed my heart and not my head.
Well, you need both.
Now I feel like a complete fool.
Aww.
It's like they all told me.
Yes.
And I believe, as a Christian, I believe in forgiveness and giving someone a second chance. And I'm just so disappointed.
Well, but John, I think you have to work at forgiving yourself for that, because it probably felt so good that she would want you again, right? You still loved her, and that she, okay, so you could chalk it up. She made a mistake. She went off the rails. Now she's back. She's sane again. And unfortunately, it wasn't that. This is a pattern in her. And so you have to look at your unwillingness to really consider the alternative and consider all the variables when you make a decision. And that you need both your head and your heart, both of them together, not separate.
And you need to listen to your friends and your family when they warn you.
Yes. They can
pay
see what you
attention to it.
can't.
Doesn't mean that they're automatically right. It just means they're raising something you've got to consider.
That's right. And we need those people around us. We're going to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice, John, and we're going to take more calls, 1-800-229-3000.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We do want you to call us at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be taking calls for the next couple hours, and we are here to help you. I'm joined by Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Dave Stoop. And, you know, just reflecting back on John's call, it is so hard when this kind of stuff happens to you, and then you walk away and you feel shamed, but it's not your shame. You didn't do anything wrong, even though I know you didn't listen to the family, but that's, you know, that it's just hard because you loved somebody so much that you just went ahead and just did your own thing, even though everybody said, don't do it. I mean, we all can make our own choices, but it's hard.
Right. Yeah. He was blinded by love, and he said he followed his heart. And it just, you know, so many people get caught up in just leading with their feelings only. And, you know, Steve always says our feelings are important. They have a point, but they're not the only point.
Right.
And so that's why it's so important to then bounce it off. And even in the reverse, just following your head and cutting off your heart, that's not a good idea either.
Well, you got to get both of them in there.
Yeah, there has to be a head-heart connection.
What's that verse you quoted?
Yeah, the heart is deceitful above all things, right? And that's
when it's by itself.
When it's by itself, we really do need. Yes, we really do need the team around us. And we're glad that you called, Mary. You're calling from Plano, Texas, and the station KWRD. We love K-Word. And how can we help you today, Mary?
I have an 8-year-old relative, little girl named Brooke. And she's in a culturally diverse class, but the classmates are making fun of her and laughing at her due to what she's bringing for lunch. She's now to a point where she doesn't want to eat. She doesn't want to go to class even. How can I help her and her family?
Gosh.
What kind of class is this?
Well, and what kind of lunch is it? I mean, why would that?
Is
Well,
that
they're making fun of
school?
her for bringing things like olives and fruit leather.
Okay.
Well,
The
it's,
kids are making
you know,
fun of her and laughing
what
at
does
her,
she,
you know?
so Mary, what does she say when she's coming home? How is she feeling? What is she talking about? Like, you know,
Yeah.
how is it impacting her?
Well, I had a chance to talk to her briefly this morning, and she says that it makes her not want to go to class because, you know, it's making her feel like she's fat. She's not. But these kids are doing this, and she's gotten to where now her mother's a teacher at the school. She just wants to come and stay with her mom all day. She doesn't even want to go to class.
You know, it's amazing in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's amazing in this day and age when so many people have identified nutritional challenges, whether it's you know, gluten-free or gluten intolerance, all those kind of things.
Allergies.
Yeah, and I thought we had you know, kind of advanced in the world, but I guess for 8-year-olds it feels overwhelming, and
Well,
it's great that her mom is there, but
It's a form of bullying.
Yeah.
And,
It is.
And she's giving the response that you typically give to being bullied. And I'm surprised that her mom is in the school and doesn't
Right,
do
that the
something
school
about
isn't
it.
intervening more.
Yeah.
But is there anything else different about her? You said it's a culturally diverse school. So, because kids tend to point out differences. That's, you know, they don't have the same social, you know, norms built in and defenses, and so they'll just say what they think.
Also, she has a medical condition that deals with her thyroid and her adrenal glands.
Okay.
So there's that on top of everything else.
Does that
But she was
manifest
telling them-
itself externally in any way that the kids see besides the food?
Sometimes it does. She's very fatigued when she has an attack where things are not working. She's very fatigued, and she has to go to the nurse and get some extra electrolytes when that happens.
Okay, so then oh, go ahead, Becky.
I was just going to say, it sounds like Brooke needs some support from the school. You know, I'm sure that she's not the only identified child that has issues. And that's why when, Dave, you're talking about bullying, that's exactly what this is all about. And, you know, I think you had asked, Mary, how can you help? I would say that you can help the mom identify this as bullying. Sometimes if she's on staff, it may feel like, you know, she doesn't want to overstep her boundaries as a parent combined with her role as a teacher. But this is important. This is, you know, her daughter's self-esteem.
So I wonder, though, if these things weren't known, I wonder socially, you know, and these things influence how she interacts. But what's her temperament? What's her personality? How does she interact with the kids? And would she be the target, even if she didn't have these things that we can point to as different? Right? Because in social dynamics, you know, where does she kind of fit in that? And that's where I think you can intervene with her to help her in her responses to kids. And does she set herself apart in any ways? I mean, she is by going and hanging out with her mom. So is she a kid that doesn't really answer questions when they try to talk to her? And so they're kind of badgering her into engaging with them. So I think there's a lot of variables, and it may be that she needs to, you know, go and talk with someone, with her mom, to help support her, right? In maybe learning some social skills.
Come up with some other behaviors she can do in response to it.
Right, because what she's doing is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to be 8.
And to feel different.
And to feel different, yeah.
Right, and that's somehow being projected.
I love that you're willing to be supportive to her and to the family. We'll send you a copy of How We Love Our Kids and maybe pass that along to Mom. And just
and
encourage
maybe purposeful parenting as well.
Purposeful? Oh, I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder who wrote that, Dr. Jill Hubbard.
Oh, I didn't. Actually, I just wrote the foreword, but.
Oh, that's important. We're still taking calls. Call us 1-800-229-3000. We are going to be back.
divorce shattered my family. I was very confused about my feelings, which are guilt, shame, and anger.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. I'm just wondering if you're feeling stuck and you're hiding behind a mask, or maybe you're ignoring some pain and you're just not wanting anybody to see the real you. Maybe you're just gripped by fear or guilt, shame, anger. There's grieving that needs to be done. Well, Chris Williams and I are going to be doing the Finding Freedom Workshop. It's a great place to discover how to live a life of freedom, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll learn how to overcome your painful past and recognize the habits and behaviors that can lead you to the life God intended. It's time to get free from the rut you're in and experience transformation in your life.
Join Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams for the New Life Finding Freedom Workshop coming to Orange County March 13th to the 15th. To register, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the Transformation Welcome Gift, which includes a personal-sized Life Recovery Bible, a Life Recovery Journal, and 5 Life Recovery Workbooks. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Hello, welcome back. It's Becky Brown with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Dave Stoop taking your calls today. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. We will be happy to help in any way. We are going to talk to John in Hereford, North Carolina, and he listens by the app, and you can too. We have a free app. You can go to your app store and download it and listen to the show, as well as if you're a Club New Life member, which if you're not, you should join Club New Life, and you can watch the videos there. But enough of that. John, how can we help you today? Hello, John, are you there? Hey, John, pick up your phone.
Hello.
Hello. Hey,
Hello,
there you are. How can we help you today,
John? I
John?
have some daggone signal communication. I have a question for you guys real quick. How to deal with somebody that is very judgmental and very opinionated and very unforgiving.
So your question is how to deal with them?
Yes, that's my question.
And
very carefully.
Very carefully. That's a good answer. John, what is the relationship? Are they relatives or somebody you work with?
Future mother-in-law.
Oh, tread very carefully.
Well,
that's really
that's all
very
she wrote
careful.
right there. Time to hang up. Yeah, buddy. That's all she wrote. Going to Olive Garden tonight. Anyways,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, so I think that you need to lean into her, embrace her, hear her. She probably rubs people the wrong way if she's got a critical spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And so everybody like runs and hides. And I think if you would be someone to kind of, again, hear her out, but then maybe as you've earned the right to speak, gently and lovingly disagree with her. And but you say, okay, I hear your opinion here, but I've also been thinking this. And there may be times where you go, you know what, I think we're just going to disagree on this one. But try to stay in your have an adult-to-adult conversation. Sometimes people like this are dying for people they can hit up against, instead of like steamrolling everybody, right? And hammering them. And a lot of times they don't feel heard. So really try to hear her. See if that works. And if you are willing to hear her and lean into her, you might find that she backs down a little bit.
It reminds me of that insurance commercial where the mother-in-law's in the car, mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
And the driver says, "How did you make somebody I love?" And so there's the other piece of it too, John, is this is family. And so when I said before, tread lightly, your wife came from her. And so this is going to be kind of an issue that you're going to have to work through. Probably for as long as you're married, which is, it's possible, but I love your approach, Jill. Dave, what were you going to say?
I think you make her your ally.
Yep, you do.
Where
Win her
it's
over.
you and her against the world.
Yeah.
And you don't have to compromise to do that. You can do it in a variety of ways, doing it even with some humor. But don't take her seriously as an adversary.
Right.
Take her as somebody who's on your side.
Well, and see it as, one of the traps that women fall into is kind of to figure out life. It's like criticizing to make things right. So if we criticize things enough, then maybe we can fix it. Maybe we can get life to be just right.
Right.
And so if you see it through that lens of she's really trying to help, even though it doesn't come across well.
Well,
it comes off that she's being very judgmental and all that stuff, even though that she means well on the inside. It just doesn't. It doesn't
right.
be
So
that way
you
when
can
she
kind of
presents it.
so you can kind of reframe it.
Yeah.
And put a positive spin on maybe some of what she's saying.
Becky, this is Larry. I want to add something.
Okay.
John, when I entered my relationship with my wife and my mother-in-law, she was a bit of an irregular person for me. I don't know that she was judgmental, but she was an irregular person for me. And what I found is I really had to work on my attitude. And it was not because I wanted to get critical of her when I needed to really love her the best I could and go with things I didn't feel like going with. And we've ended up being great friends and have a really good relationship. But it was really tough in the beginning.
Can I ask you guys one question too? This kind of adds on to, I guess, with me. I guess dealing with this for the past few years is kind of starting to get me in the state, or I've potentially gotten to the state where I don't feel like I'm like almost in a way good enough, or like I feel like I'm lesser than or something. And then I started, I know who I am in Christ, and that's all that matters. But ultimately, I think like it has taken a toll on my like patience and on my own like, well, do I always feel like I have to prove something to this woman or something?
So you feel like she's been critical of you as well?
Oh yeah.
Well, John, no one's good enough for her daughter, so I don't even know her, but I just know that that's what a lot of mother-in-laws do. But yes, you're right. You can be impacted by that negativity, and that you start to question, am I good enough? Because she's criticizing everybody else. But I think if you take the steps like what Larry and Jill and Dave are talking about, that you respond in the way that you want to be, as opposed to in reaction to who she is.
And it's not, not for her approval, right? Larry, did you want to add?
I was just curious. What does your fiance see and say about this? Is she an ally with you in this, or is she real quiet, or how does she respond with you?
She's not quite my fiance yet. I'm doing that hopefully very, very soon. In the next few more months, I'm going to be proposing to her. And I already went over and had the talk. Gave the whole spiel of asked them for their blessing and all that stuff, and it went better than I thought it was. But I'm just trying to figure out.
Good job, John. I love that you're asking all these questions before, and I think that you have the right spirit, and we can get all tangled up in somebody else's negativity, but you're making the right choice by responding in love.
And that's it, Becky. It's someone else's negativity. It's hers. It's not yours. And so don't make her the committee that evaluates you. She'll say what she thinks, but that isn't who your ultimate judge is.
Exactly. What book would you guys say would be a good one to send?
Take Your Life Back?
Take Your Life Back.
I was thinking that, but
Yeah.
we're going to send John a copy of Take Your Life Back. It's all about working your side of the street and living in a responsive way. And speaking of responsive, Larry, thanks so much for your response. And we're hoping that people will respond to
that was
you.
Perfect.
It was perfect, and I hope people will respond to you. Go ahead and ask.
Me too. Well, you know what? My role here is, too often is seeking your support financially. And I say too often just because it feels a little bit too much of a need for us. When I know that God's hand of favor is on New Life, and I know that He's blessing us, and I know that you folks will respond. But hurry up, would you? I'm sorry.
Well, humans are impatient.
I want to really encourage you folks to join Club New Life. That's what I want to do today. Club New Life it's monthly. If you give $30 or more a month, that's it. And if you think about I don't think most of you would have to give up much, or if anything, to do that. But if you did, what would it be? A cup of coffee today, each day at Starbucks? I mean, so please consider.
We always pick on the coffee.
Only
don't
6
we?
days. Only 6 days.
Yeah, there you go.
It could be candy. It could be gum.
Could
gum
be
is
ice
$1.50 a packet
That's right.
now. So, you could give up your gum for a month or so.
Right.
But,
But we have a great thank you gift. It's 7 different things. It's a Life Recovery Bible, 5 Life Recovery workbooks. There's a general one, and then there's one on 4 other different topics: grief, eating disorders, sexual integrity, and divorce. And then a Life Recovery Journal. And all that for just saying, yes, I'll join you monthly and support what you do.
That's
because we
amazing.
believe in what you do.
That's amazing.
And what one person wrote after they went to the last workshop that we're promoting, because the Finding Freedom is coming up in a few weeks here. And this is what Tricia wrote. I felt stuck in some areas of my life even after going to divorce care, Celebrate Recovery, and Grief Recovery. I was very reactive. I still didn't understand why I responded the way I did after all the work I've done. This workshop has been life-changing. The teachings were great. The small group time was powerful and freeing. I'm leaving the weekend with new tools and loving sisters in Christ who love and accept me. I have a team cheering me, and I'll be cheering them on to be who God created us to be. That's what these workshops do, folks, and if you believe in the change that is happening because God's blessing our efforts, would you please support New Life? If you can't do Club New Life, do a one-time gift. We would just be deeply appreciative.
Yeah. And you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can go to newlife.com. You can give on the app. There's so many different ways that you can donate to a worthy cause, and that is all the lives that are transformed through your giving. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to reach out to so many people, and we hear about those changed lives all the time. Thanks, Larry, for asking, and hopefully someone will respond today and make a difference in the lives of someone.
My wife had found me out and came home one weekend. She had revealed my secret. The only reason I was sorry at that time is because I had been caught. I had had the Every Man's Battle book for years and pulled that book out that weekend and found the phone number on the back and called it. And then a week later, I was at Every Man's Battle. It really gave me the start I needed for my recovery. I never had had that opportunity to sit down with guys I didn't even know and totally open up. The good thing was I was opening up to guys I didn't even know. So why did I care? Just lay it all out on the table. I have nothing to lose. You need to check it out. At least go online, check out what it's about, and take the chance and go do it.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to go on struggling, but you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly. And it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are still taking your calls. We've got some that are holding, and I hope you keep holding, and we will take them until we can't take them anymore. But that we've got a whole nother hour. So give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. And I almost forgot those last 4 digits. That would have been really important. We're going to talk to Sandy, who's calling us from Spokane, Washington. She listens on Sirius XM. And we are appreciative for all of our SiriusXM listeners. And Sandy, how can we help you today?
Hi, can you hear me?
Of course we can. We're so glad you're here.
Awesome. Glad to be here. I was listening earlier about how the brain needs to speak in order for it to heal. And that kind of resonated with me because I have a daughter who was... she's post-traumatic stress disorder, and she was beat up 8 years ago by a gentleman, and we thought she was working, and she hid it from us. So we didn't know that it was happening until it became really bad and ended up 2 court cases, which, you know, he finally did go to jail. But so for 8 years now, she hasn't spoke to a therapist. She has once or twice, but doesn't continue. She's been self-medicating, and she couch surfs from place to place to place to place. So I'm wondering how I can help her if, you know, I mean, obviously prayer and, you know, but she's just at a standstill. She does nothing.
Well, so Sandy, how old is she?
27.
Okay, and how far away from you is she geographically?
Anywhere from 60 to 90 miles. She circulates with men only, and finds guys that like her because she's cute and young, and you know they help her out. But she went through a real volatile stage when she was helping my husband with some work, and she was just angry, and that's when we were like, something's not right with her brain. You know, she wasn't making sense, and so I do know she drinks, maybe does pot. I don't believe she does that, but I do know she drinks. And just circling the drain for 8 years.
This is a pretty critical situation, Sandy, and what have you tried to do up to this point?
Well, I myself put myself in therapy to try and get some direction. We've asked her not to be on the property unless she was sober. That was the number one thing. And so she does abide by that. I've called the cops on her when, you know, when there was a situation. But basically she's an adorable, loving person. But it's when she's away from us and couch surfing, as I said, she's dysfunctional.
So, Sandy, she was attacked 8 years ago, so she was 19, 20 when that happened. Okay, and was this somebody she was in relationship with?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Oh, but we didn't know about it. She lived in another town, was working.
But it was a boyfriend that you didn't know about.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, he was quite older.
Okay. And is she continued the pattern of being with older men?
Yeah. Off and on, yes.
Okay. And then the obvious question, where is Dad? Where is Dad in her life?
Dad is in her life. They were really close, her and her dad. But he is an alcoholic, but he's a functioning alcoholic.
Okay.
He'll even admit to you. I mean, you know, it's that kind of thing. I myself don't drink. My son doesn't drink.
Okay.
But she got that drinking bug. Yeah, yeah.
So here's
I'm just wondering the best way to maybe go ahead.
No, you finish your question. I want to hear what you're saying.
I just want to do what's right so that, I know to let her fall, but I honestly don't know that there isn't a mental health issue like with her brain, because she was hit in the head. And literally, she showed me one night when she was drunk that he was thumping her that way. And I was like, she might be not playing with a full deck.
Wow.
And that might be good to have evaluated.
Is she asking? Is she asking you for help at all, Sandy?
Off and on. She never asks for money. She will say, I'm in a situation, and I will be like, what do you need? I will help you if you need it. And so then she'll get off the phone and she'll call around out of the 20 people she knows, which are all guys, and she'll say, I got it. I'm okay. I'm safe. She'll always text me and say, I'm safe.
But she puts herself in dangerous situations.
Oh, yes.
Constantly.
Yes.
Well, she needs to get into to counseling to work through the post-traumatic stress of what she went through. It's still alive for her in her brain, and
it's like she
she's
keeps
reacting
living it
to
out.
Yeah, she keeps living it out.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous. So she needs to get some help in terms of dealing with what happened to her 8 years ago.
And the self-medicating will dysregulate her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the chaoticness comes in, right? And so she's trying to keep all of those feelings at bay, so she keeps self-medicating. So she's on the run emotionally.
I guess I just kind of, I mean, I kind of feel like I should ultimatum her and say, you know what, until you're ready to get help, stay away. But I'm like, is that too harsh?
Well, I think someone who's dealing with things like this, there's two things. This isn't just an addiction, right? These are some other things. And I think as parents, even with adult children, you can help to raise the bottom, right?
Right. I think there's the thing that's going through my head, Sandy, is that she's still reaching out to you.
Yeah.
I would encourage her to, whether it's seek treatment or maybe even get into AA. It might be good for her to find a meeting. Like, she has no stability
Maybe her
in
dad
her life
would go
at all.
with her.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, I'm just
fantasy.
thinking, I'm thinking, Sandy, as you, and I would encourage you to do some recovery work as well, because this isn't just a boundary thing, because she's abiding by the boundaries that you set. But like what Jill said, we've got a couple of different things. She's been injured. Her brain is not well.
Like
and
I would love her to
that,
go to the Amen clinics or something.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, she doesn't have any stability. There's no home, and she's homeless. She's,
so
subjected
I would
to all
invite
kinds of
her,
things.
Sandy, I would invite her. I would say, sweetheart, when you are done handling things on your own, or could I suggest that let's take a different approach? I think you are still running from what happened to you. Let's go and look at your brain so that you can make some better choices for yourself. Because how you're living, is it really working for you?
Well, it's not going to work in the long run.
And see if you can catch her at a moment where she's open and receptive. Can we go and meet with some people to see if we could get you some help so you don't have to keep self-medicating, because ultimately that's not the best medical intervention.
Well, and she's very young, and she's had some major trauma.
And so she's emotionally younger.
Sandy. As you have too, Sandy, because of, finding this out later, and it's pretty traumatic to think that your daughter's out there just, all over the place. Like, there's no safety, no security. And so you've done some good boundary work, but I also think there's, we talk about grace and truth, combining grace with truth and allowing her to come to you for insight. We are so glad that you called today, Sandy. We'll send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible. But for the rest of you, hold on. We're going to keep taking your calls. Call us at 1-800-229-3000. Thanks, Jill and Dave, for all of your wisdom. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.